Today on Energy Contact, most of what we think are today's thoughts and decisions were in fact formed years ago. Those thoughts and decisions shaped our physical body. They shaped us then, and they're still shaping us now. Well, today we're about to see how the intellect in your body is at least as smart as the intellect in your brain. And that body intellect knows how to put you in touch with your health, growth, self-improvement, and happiness. Curious? Well, then sit your smart body down for a few minutes, because it's all coming up right now on Energy Contact.
And he ain't gonna worry, and I ain't gonna complain. I'm gonna drive away all these doubts I've been keeping, and I'll keep my mind on better things. He ain't gonna worry, and I ain't gonna complain. I'm gonna drive away all these doubts I've been keeping, and I'll keep my mind on better things.
Hello, and welcome to Energy Contact. My name is Joseph Willenbrink. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you to the production staff here in the studio for helping me get my message out to you. Energy Contact is a series that I'm presenting to you as a public service. It's about attaining perfect health, growth, self-improvement, happiness, and realizing your full potential. It's designed to present you a new way of seeing yourself and a new way of seeing the world around you. We're talking about things that have to do with making an energetic contact with yourself internally and with your environment. There's no difference between the body, the mind, the spirit, the emotion, the intellect, the ego. There's no difference between mass and energy. There is just something about us that loves to separate, to categorize, to classify, to dissect, pull these things apart. But there's no difference. In fact, all that health and healing and self-improvement we're looking at take place when we do just the opposite, when we put these things together. When we make an energetic contact between the physical world and the unseen one. We're presenting on these programs a brand new paradigm that's thousands of years old. We're presenting extraordinary topics for ordinary people. Let's move right ahead with that, and let's bring up our first slide. Everyone please know that I'm not a doctor. I don't want to be a doctor, and this show is in no way a medical advice show. If you're looking for medical advice, you're in the wrong place. That's not what we're doing here. Now, I call myself an energy healer or a chakra healer. A lot of people call themselves a lot of things, but it's important to realize that state, federal, and local governments call me no such thing at all. There's a lot of important information on this slide. We're going to leave it up there for a second, and I will invite and encourage you to read it thoroughly, if you will. And when you've got it down, now would be a great time to locate a pencil and paper. And here's why you want to do that. At the end of this show, we're going to run some contact information on the credits, and you'll be able to get in touch with me if you choose. As a matter of fact, I'm sort of hoping that there might be something that I'll tell you today that might inspire you to want to contact me. I'll be glad to hear from you. But in order to contact me, you're going to need that contact information. And in order to get that, you're going to need a pencil and paper. There'll be plenty of time to jot it down at the end of the show, if your pencil and paper are ready. All right, let's come back up here. Today's show is show number 7. And if you're tuning in for the first time today, well, thank you. Thanks and welcome. I think you'll enjoy the show. These shows are sequential. They build, so there's some ramp-up time, some up-to-speed stuff that you will have missed out on. However, I'm doing my very best to make each show have a lot of value on a standalone basis, and I believe today's show really does. So, if it is your first time, and if what you see piques your interest, then I'll invite you to look for earlier shows. They'll be airing at later times. They'll either be re-airing here on this channel or perhaps at different times and days in different areas where your friends live. And if you look for them, I'll appreciate it. All right, and now we've come to the part of the show where I'm going to introduce my co-host to you. Let's get Slim on camera. This is my buddy Slim here. And Slim is here for a purpose. Since we're investigating what energy contacts in the physical self, we have to know a couple of things, don't we? We have to know something about energy. It's a good thing to know about. But all of that energy out there somewhere does us no good whatsoever. It does us no good until we bring it into contact with something. Slim is here to show us that thing that the energy contacts. Remember, a body without energy is just a corpse. And energy without a body might be a number of awesome things, but none of them are human. All right, so we're moving forward today. Previously on Energy Contact, we have talked about how thought creates form and how the tools that it uses are the internal forces that animate us. Breath, frequency, pulse, rhythm, wave, constant motion. Those things combined with the external forces, gravity and entropy, the bumps and bruises, the kisses and hugs of life. And all those things are acting and reacting and interacting and iterating. The external forces and the internal forces, forming us all the time, forming us right now. We have seen on Energy Contact that there's absolutely no difference between mass and energy. That like ice and water and steam, they're all the exact same thing in different forms. We might experience them differently. We might see them as different things, but in fact, they're exactly the same. So this physical body here is just frozen energy, just like ice is frozen steam. From there, we looked at atoms and cells and saw that our physical self is basically just nothing. And from there, we saw how we took that nothing and began our self-building process in the womb. We saw how just after conception, all of our cells were in direct physical contact, and that the cells that went to our head and the cells that went to our toes were all the same. Also, we saw that we are mystical creatures, at least as much as we are scientific ones. And that's part of the reason why doctors can't figure us out, why medicine hasn't found a way to systematically fix everything. I mean, if we were machines, if we were scientific things, they'd figure it out. You know, for example, cars are machines. They can fix cars. And if you learn how to fix one car, you can pretty much fix them all. We're not like that. One pill that makes one person gets better makes another person get sick. And nobody knows who's who until you take the pills. All right, that leads us right into today. So if we are not medically viable creatures, well, what are we then? How can we understand ourselves enough to unlock the secrets to our health and growth and self-improvement? Well, today we're going to go right back to where we were the last show, right back to our first days of existence after conception, right back to the womb. And today we are going to do something very important. We are going to meet the body intellect and the anatomy that it builds. We're going to see how the same material in our brains that give us intelligence, that give us intellect, thought, reason, logic, all those things we think of as brain functions, how they are in fact in every cell of our body. We're going to see how that body intellect builds us.